Hi, Patrick Truckin, GM here at your Twin Eagles Country Club. I shot a video yesterday about the conditions on the Talon course. After reviewing the video, there was a couple of tweaks that I wanted to make and a few points that I didn't get across very clearly. Unfortunately today, when we went out to shoot a new one, the weather was working against us. It's been raining most of the day. So I wanted to, before we get into that video, go ahead and add a few additional points to it. And the first and foremost is really truly the gravity of the situation and the seriousness in which myself and my team take what's going on out there in the Talon. I've had a lot of sleepless nights over this, and unfortunately there's only so many things we can do about it looking backwards. So right now it's all about putting a best foot forward and doing everything we can to get that course tightened up as quick as possible. As you'll see me talk about in the video coming up, I'm really targeting sometime in September to have the work done and have a really strong showing the 1st of October. That's the goal. That's the #1 priority for me right now, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So please stay tuned. Thank you very much. Hi, Patrick Truckin, General Manager of your Twin Eagles Country Club. I'm coming at you today from the 11th green here on the Talon course. If you read your emails yesterday, you got a notification saying we're having a little bit of trouble out here on the Talon greens, and I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of explain to you in my mind how we got here in this situation. Some of you may or may not know, but I have a background that's actually in agronomy. I'm a certified golf course superintendent as well, so this kind of conversation sort of comes natural to me. And I say I'm talking about why I believe we got here, and that's because, you know, really turfgrass management is the art and science of managing grass, and it's as much art as it is science. In this situation here, there's 4 or 5 variables that really kind of were working against us and came together in a perfect storm to really impact the condition of the turf here on the Talon greens. First and foremost, you start with the soil and we work up from there. The soil is a little bit older, it's kind of plugged up, there's a lot of organic matter that's built up over the years, and unfortunately that really impacts the ability for the water and the oxygen to move through the soil. And when that happens, you get poor root conditions, and poor root conditions ultimately lead to poor turf. And when the turf starts to struggle a little bit, it becomes more susceptible to diseases. In this case, it was Rhizoctonia and Pythium that really did the bulk of the damage out here on the Talon course. Even with pesticide applications to hopefully mitigate that, unfortunately the health of the turf was just in such a state of decline that it wasn't resilient enough to overcome the pressures from those 2 diseases. Dealing with that and actually exacerbating it in a lot of ways was the nematode pressures. Nematodes are nothing new in Southwest Florida, but this season in particular they've been bad, and that's largely because in the winter, if you know, you guys that were down here in January, February, March, you can all attest to the fact that it was warmer than normal. Well, one of the mechanisms that nature has employed to control nematodes is cold temperatures, and having a warmer than usual winter unfortunately had us starting the season off kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of nematode pressures. Coupled with that, the fact that a lot of the best nemicides that are out there for controlling nematodes have now been taken off the market in the last couple of years, were really reduced in the quality and number of things that we can put down on the greens to reduce the nematode load. So unfortunately, nematode levels got a little higher than we like, coupled with some poor root structure that was facilitated by poor green profile structure, and you get some dead turf. Add another component to that, and that's a lot of rain. I mean, June has been a very wet month coupled with really warm temperatures in between. It's not uncommon to get rain down here every day. The difference is we've had a lot of days, and way more than normal, where it's rained all day. You know, you've been rained off the golf course and been called in at 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning on a regular basis, and then it's rained all day. Well, when you get rain like that all day and the greens don't have a chance to drain and dry out and get oxygen into those roots, bad things are going to happen. That's another one of those things that added to the stress level of the turf and ultimately led to us losing some turf. One more variable, and you see it particularly out here in the Talon, is that a lot of these greens are tucked down. And when greens are tucked down and surrounded by trees and stuff, you don't get as much air movement as you'd like. Air movement in itself is important, but you couple air movement or lack of air movement with all those other variables I just outlined, and you're again adding to factors that are going to impact the turf's ability to survive. And really, I think it was kind of a combination of all of those things that really led to what we're dealing with out here on the Talon. Now the good news is there's ways we can improve it. We can improve the situation first and foremost by more aerification. Aerification introduces new sand. That's nothing new to you. Everybody understands what aerification is for the most part, because they've seen it out here on a regular basis. When we're introducing new sand on a regular basis to the greens, you're improving the pore space in the soil. You're allowing oxygen and water to move through the soil, which is critical for turf health. So what we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, now that we've closed the Talon, is we're going to try to get 2, maybe 3 more aerifications on these greens before mid-September, so that when we come out of the summer going into October and fall, we've got these greens robust, healthy, doing much better. If we don't get those aerifications in, unfortunately what we're going to see is that going into next year, chances are the greens are going to be behind the 8 ball going into the season again, and the chances of us losing turf is going to be very high. So for me, it's critically important that we introduce as much sand as we can in the short term to increase the health of the greens. And I can tell you right now, if you look right down here at this spot, here's a really great example of one of the solutions that we were thinking about in the future, which is increasing the number of aerifications that we try to get done on these greens in the next couple of weeks, opening up the soil structure. You can see in this spot of turf right here that's definitely weakened and being impacted by nematodes and disease that you've got these patches of green, and these patches of green correspond perfectly with the aerification holes that were punched in just a couple of weeks ago. So you know that the soil profile and the quality of that soil profile is playing a big role in the health of this green. So that's why we're going to be implementing a very aggressive aerification program in the next couple of weeks to get these greens back in better shape. Lastly, thanks for your patience during this process. I know it's tough being back over on the Eagle again, but we really need the time to get more aerification and more sand on these greens. That's the best chance we have of creating a very robust green that can resist this kind of stuff in the future. We really want to be sure that we maximize the opportunity now so that we can have the very best playing conditions throughout the season going into next summer. So I'm excited about the future here at Twin Eagles. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks again.